What is up, everyone, and welcome back. If you are watching this video, pause for just 1 second and ask yourself a simple question. Are you further ahead today than you were 5 years ago? And I'm not talking about your spirituality or your relationships. I am talking about your cold, hard financial reality. For millions of Americans, the answer is a quiet no. In fact, for the first time in modern history, the average American is actually sliding backward, while the cost of everything, from a gallon of milk to a modest home, is skyrocketing. It feels like the game is rigged, doesn't it? It feels like the door to the middle class is being slammed shut, locked and welded shut right in front of our faces. But what if I told you that this feeling of panic, this economic squeeze we are all feeling, is actually the signal? What if the chaos, the high interest rates and the fear in the market aren't the end of the story, but the precise setup for the last great wealth opportunity of our lifetime? We are standing on the edge of a shift in American money so massive that it only happens once every 80 to 100 years. Most people will sleepwalk right through it and wake up poorer in 10 years. But you are here, which means you are ready to wake up. Let's dive in. To understand where we are going, we have to be brutally honest about where we are. We are living through the death throes of an era. For the last 40 years, the secret to getting rich in America was simple. Buy a house, buy an index fund, and let inflation do the work. It was the set it and forget it generation. But that era is dead. The Federal Reserve is trapped. The national debt is mathematically impossible to pay off without destroying the currency's value, and the US dollar is losing its grip as the undisputed king of the world. This sounds scary, and it is, unless you understand how money actually moves. When a currency debases, when the dollar gets weaker, it doesn't just disappear. It moves. It flows from cash and savings into hard assets. It moves from the hands of the complacent into the hands of the prepared. We are seeing the largest transfer of wealth in human history right now, and it is happening in real time. The people who just hold cash are getting slaughtered by inflation, a hidden tax that eats 10, 15, sometimes 20% of your purchasing power every single year. But the people who understand this shift are positioning themselves to absorb that fleeing value. This is the opportunity. It is not about working harder. The era of working your way to wealth is over. It is about positioning yourself in the path of the money flow. So what is this specific opportunity? It is the acquisition of productive, tangible, and undervalued assets during a moment of maximum pessimism. Let's break this down into the 3 pillars of this next massive wave. Pillar number 1. The Great American Fire Sale on Real Estate. Right now, the housing market is frozen. Sellers won't sell because they don't want to give up their 3% mortgage rates, and buyers can't buy because rates are 7 or 8%. The media calls this a crisis. I call this a loading screen. Institutional investors, the BlackRocks and the Vanguards of the world, are raising billions of dollars to wait for the inevitable flood of inventory that is coming when commercial real estate collapses and residential foreclosures tick up. They know that when the dust settles, the people holding physical property in high-growth areas will have won the game. You need to be thinking like them. Not about your dream home, but about distressed assets. Multifamily units, rental properties in the Sunbelt, or even land. We are about to see a generational buying opportunity where assets that were overpriced in 2021 will be given away for pennies on the dollar in 2025 and 2026. If you have cash or access to credit, you are the king in this scenario. But real estate is just the beginning. Pillar number 2 is perhaps the most misunderstood asset class in history, and it is the answer to the dying dollar. We are witnessing the demonetization of the West. The US dollar has been the world reserve currency since 1944, but empires always overextend and they always inflate away their debts. The smartest money in the world is moving into a parallel financial system. I am talking about the ecosystem of hard money, specifically gold, and more importantly for the younger generation, Bitcoin. Now, don't click away. This isn't a crypto bro rant. This is a historical necessity. Every time a government debases its currency to pay for wars and reckless spending, the people flee to hard money. Gold is hitting all-time highs for a reason. The smart money is already there. But the real asymmetric upside, the chance to turn a few $1,000s into life-changing wealth, is in the digital asset space that is currently being integrated into the American financial system. We are seeing the legalization and institutionalization of this technology. When the largest asset managers in the world launch ETFs, the game changes from speculation to adoption. This is the new digital gold rush of the 21st century, and we are barely in the second inning. This is your chance to opt out of the failing system and opt into a new one before the rest of the crowd rushes the exit. This brings us to pillar number 3, which is the most accessible to you, regardless of your bank account balance, right? Now, this is the rise of the sole proprietor economy and the creator revolution. The old American dream was, go to school, get a job, get a pension. The new American dream is, own your audience, own your product, and own your destiny. The corporate ladder has been pulled to the ground. Companies are laying off thousands of white-collar workers, replacing them with AI and contractors. But this creates a massive void. Big companies are terrible at being human. They are terrible at building real trust. That is where you come in. The last great wealth opportunity is in the personalization of commerce. We are moving back to a village economy, but on a global scale. If you can build a community of 1,000 true fans who trust you, you can make a 6-figure income. Whether you are selling a service, a digital product, or physical goods, the leverage of the internet allows one person to generate the revenue that used to require a factory of workers. This is the ultimate hedge against a bad economy. No one can fire you from your own audience. This is the era of the solopreneur, and the tools to build an empire are sitting in your pocket right now. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds overwhelming. It sounds risky. You might be sitting there with credit card debt, or living paycheck to paycheck thinking, this guy's talking about buying assets and starting businesses. I can barely afford groceries. And I want to validate that. The system is tough. But here is the hard truth that no one else will tell you. Staying in your current lane is the riskiest thing you can do. Doing nothing is a guaranteed loss. Inflation is a guaranteed tax on your inaction. The first step to capturing this wealth opportunity isn't writing a check for $1 million. It is a complete overhaul of your mindset. You have to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a producer. A consumer asks, can I afford this payment? A producer asks, how can I own this asset? A consumer watches the news and gets scared. A producer watches the news and looks for the gap in the market. We need to talk about the technology that is driving this, specifically artificial intelligence. This is the 4th pillar of the opportunity. People are terrified that AI will take their jobs. Good. Let it take the boring, repetitive, soul-sucking jobs. AI is the ultimate leverage for the wealth builder. It used to take a team of 10 people to launch a business, a website, a marketing campaign, and a product. Now, with the AI tools available in 2024, one person with the right prompt engineering can do the work of 50. This levels the playing field entirely. You can code software without knowing code. You can write copy without being a writer. You can analyze data without being a mathematician. This is the industrial revolution for the mind. If you are learning how to use these tools, you are arming yourself for the biggest gold rush in human history. If you are ignoring them, you are choosing to bring a knife to a tank fight. The opportunity here is not to replace humans, but to augment your own capability to produce value at a speed and scale that was previously impossible. Let's look at the energy sector for a moment, because this is the silent giant that is about to wake up. The electrification of America is going to require a power grid overhaul that is almost incomprehensible in scale. We are talking about trillions of dollars moving into energy infrastructure, nuclear power, and grid modernization. Over the next decade, the AI data centers alone are going to consume massive amounts of electricity. This creates a tangible opportunity for investors and workers alike. Investing in the backbone of America, energy, utilities, and the materials needed to build the grid like copper and lithium is a long-term play that is backed by physics, not speculation. The lights have to stay on. The servers have to keep running. This is where the slow, boring money will be made, and it will compound quietly while everyone else is distracted by the daily drama of the stock market. So, how do you actually execute this? How do you get ready? You need to get your financial house in order immediately. This is the boring part, but it is the foundation. You cannot build wealth if you are leaking cash. You must eliminate high-interest debt today. That is an emergency. If you have credit card debt at 20%, you are walking backwards with heavy weights on your ankles.